now only talk about this subject. Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we are going to start up with the eighth topic of your research methods in management, and the name of that topic is data. So we are going to understand what is the meaning of data, what is primary data, what is secondary data, then again what are the types of primary data, what are the types of secondary data. These all things we are going to cover in this class. Okay, so let me ask you first, what is the importance of data in research? Why data is needed in research?
Ma'am,
Yes,
Good morning, ma'am.
today my presentation.
you can give presentation
Good morning,
afterwards.
ma'am.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
So, what is the importance of data in research? Why we collect data? Yes, Chandrasekhar.
यस मैम विदाउट डाटा हम लोग कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते किसी भी सब्जेक्ट के रिगार्डिंग इसलिए फर्स्टली हमें डाटा कलेक्ट करना और विदाउट डाटा हम लोग कोई कंक्लूजन नहीं निकाल सकते हैं
Right. Very good.
कोई
So,
वेरिएबल्स फाइंड आउट नहीं कर सकते
right. Good. Very good. So basically, why do we collect data? We collect data because without data, we cannot collect any kind of information, right? So data collection is very, very important if we want to study on ground, if we want to do research on whatever is going on around us. For example, if you want to collect data on how many COVID patients are there in India, active cases right now, so you have to approach all the diagnostic centers or maybe all the hospitals in the country. Then you compile the data and then you can show that these are the total number of COVID patients in the country, right? So now data can be of two types, right? First kind of data is called as primary data, and the second kind of data is called as secondary data. Now, what is primary data and what is secondary data? Let us understand. Let's move to the next slide. So, here the definition of data is written. What is data? Data is information in a raw or unorganized form, such as alphabet, number, or symbols, that refers to or represent ideas, objects. Data is limitless and it's present everywhere in the universe. So, data is generally numbers, figures, uh, statistics, right? Whatever information we collect from the surroundings, whatever ideas, opinions we collect from the surroundings are the example of data. Okay. So what is data? Data is the information in raw or unorganized form. So there is a difference between data and information. Do we know what is the difference between them? What is the difference between data and information?
yes मैम इंफॉर्मेशन इज द स्ट्रक्चर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ that sorry information is the structured form of data.
Very good, very good. So that's the correct answer. Data is the structural form of information. That means a data which is scattered or which is unorganized will give you no meaning, right? For example, if you get a data of total number of active COVID cases in different cities, for example, they are giving you data of Jaipur 600, data of Top 200, data of Kota 100 patients. It makes no sense. But whenever you get a compiled data, when you convert this data into some meaningful form, into a structural meaningful form, that is called as information. For example, on an Excel sheet, somebody writes down total number of active COVID cases in Rajasthan. Then you write Jaipur has 600 cases, Kota has 100 cases, Tonk has this many cases. Jaipur has highest number of cases, then Tonk has second highest number of cases, right? Kota has third highest number of cases. So it is giving us some kind of information. It is providing us some kind of a insight on that data. That becomes information. Whenever data is scattered or numbers are there in unstructured form, when we cannot derive any meaning from the numbers, then they are called as data. But whenever we organize these numbers into a meaningful structured form, for example, you are making an Excel sheet, or you are making a graph, you are making a chart, or you are systematically organizing the data so that anybody who can read the data can find out some information from that data, then it becomes information. So in the same way, whenever as a researcher you collect data from the respondents. Who are respondents? Respondents are the people from whom we are collecting the information. They are respondents, right? So we give them questionnaire, or we give them a survey form or a Google form, whatever, and we collect information. We collect data from them actually. Now it is your work, it is our work as a researcher to convert this data into information, right? We have to convert this data into information so that whoever reads that data can find out uh, a meaning or a conclusion from that particular numbers or data. So what do? We collect information from the respondents, then we transfer the data into a Excel sheet, or we feed that data into a software. The name of that software is called as SPSS. So what is the basic function of SPSS? SPSS provides us the basic function of data analysis, right? So all the data analysis is done in SPSS, or we can do it in Excel also. So whenever we transfer the data from the questionnaire to the Excel, or from the questionnaire in the SPSS format, this this data becomes information, right? So I hope the difference between data and information is now clear. Okay. Now we are going to understand the types of data. So there are basically two types of data. The first is called as primary data, and the second is called as secondary data. So because I have explained you earlier, I want you to answer this question, that which data is primary data and which data is secondary data.
Ma'am, which data we collected by any method, by questionnaire, by any method, by research, that's called primary data, and which data is already published by somewhere, by someone as like newspaper, magazine, and by any other in previous activity. That's called
Right.
secondary data.
Okay. Okay. Very good, Chandrasekhar. So this is the basic difference between primary data and secondary data. When, as the name suggests, you have to remember from the name only. Okay. So primary data is something which is collected for the first time. Primary means first time. So you are the first one as a researcher who is collecting that data. So that is called as primary data. Secondary data means the data which is already collected by somebody else and you are reusing. Secondary means second time, right? So somebody has already collected that data and you are using that data for the second time, so that becomes secondary data, right? Let's go to the next slide. Data that has been collected from the first hand experience. First hand means for the very first time, fresh data that is collected is called as primary data. Primary data has not been published yet, and it is more reliable, authentic, and objective. So let me tell you, in research fraternity, if you are doing a particular research, always primary data carries more weight or more importance as compared to the secondary data, right? Because in primary data, you are somebody who is collecting the information on your hand, you are collecting the fresh information. So primary data always has more importance as compared to secondary data. Why? Because it is more authentic, it is reliable, and it is objective because you yourself is doing the research and you yourself are collecting the data. Primary data has not been changed or altered by human beings, therefore its validity is greater than secondary data. See, what happens is secondary data, for example, I have copied it from somewhere and I have written it in my research paper. Then the second person has copied from my research paper. Then the third person has copied from his research paper, right? So what we are doing is we are distorting the data. As many time as you will copy the data will distort. Some kind of changes will come in data. So as far as authenticity is concerned, primary data carries more importance as compared to secondary data. Okay. Now, the next technique that we are going to study is methods of collection of primary data. Now, it is very important to understand that whenever you will carry out a particular research, what are the specific methods through which you can collect primary data. Okay, so these are the four most used, most famous, and most important methods that I have included in the slide. If you want, you can note it down. These are the four methods that you have to study from exam point of view also. So what are those methods? The first is called as observation method. The second is called as oral interview method. The third is called as questionnaire method. And the fourth is called as survey method. Now, among these methods, generally, I am telling about generally, if you are writing a research paper or you are writing a report or you are writing a thesis, right? Most people use questionnaire method. Okay. Now let me tell you why. Because questionnaire method provides you very accurate data, and from that data you can analyze and you can find out results, right? What I am saying is that most of the people are using questionnaire method for data collection because it gives you the kind of data that you want. Means that data can be fed into SPSS and we can apply various kind of mathematical operations on that particular kind of data, right? So this questionnaire method is important. Otherwise, definitely you can use observation method, oral interview method, and survey method. The interview methods we use whenever the respondent is maybe illiterate, the respondent do not know how to read and how to write. So maybe interview is the better way. Or when you have limited number of respondents, for example, you have to only interview 25 to 30 people. It is easy. You can complete it in 1 month of time. But how about doing a research on 500 respondents? Can you go to everybody and talk to everybody? No, right? It's practically not possible. So oral interview is a method which has some limitations. Again, in survey method, we have only very limited questions. Limited questions means you will have very clear cut closed-ended questions like in yes or no, or for example, whenever you come out of a restaurant, they ask you some 2 or 3 questions, whether you like the quality of the food, rate us out of 5. So that is a survey method in which very limited information is being asked because the respondent do not have much time and he can only answer 1 or 2 questions, right? So this is the basic difference, right? In observation method, you fix up the cameras or you observe the respondent, maybe knowingly or unknowingly. The respondent may know or may not know. For example, you are studying the purchase behavior of a customer in a retail chain. So you may study the CCTV cameras which are there in a hypermarket or hypercity. You can take permission and you can observe their cameras and you can see the purchase behavior of the customers. You can note down your points, right? But that happens very rarely. Okay, so we have to mostly concentrate on questionnaire method, which is very important from exam point of view also, and from the point of your research also. So let's start with the first method, which is called as observation method. It is commonly used in behavioral sciences. So do we know what are behavioral sciences?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
which method by we collecting information according to behave, attitude, nature.
Okay. Yes, Anil, you want to say something?
Ma'am, behavior science is just science in which we study about someone's behavior. That is behavioral science.
Right. Very good. So, good, you both are right. So, see what happens in behavioral sciences. Basically, you are observing somebody's behavior, right? Because sometimes, if you ask me why my behavior is that way, I may not be able to explain it, right? For example, some days you are low and some days you are very happy and chirpy. If somebody asks you why you are low today, some days you will be able to answer, some days you will not able to answer, right? You always do not know the reason of your behavior. That's what I'm telling you, because most part of our mind is about unconscious thinking. We are not aware of what is happening in our mind. So in behavioral sciences, it is best to observe the respondent or the patient on which you are doing a particular research. If you observe the day-to-day routine activities of a particular respondent or a particular patient, you will be better able to write down the observations. Okay, so observation seeks to ascertain what people think and do by watching them in action as they express themselves in various situations or activities. If you give them a questionnaire about their behavior, they may not be able to answer it. But if you, as a psychologist, behavioral studies means studying the human behavior, as simple as that, right? So basically, psychiatrists, psychologists, these are the people who are using this observation method. And we are studying why people are behaving in a certain manner, and what makes them behave in that particular way. So we use observation method in this. Observation is a process in which one or more persons observe what is occurring in some real life situation, and they classify and record pertinent happenings. Pertinent means the happenings which are happening again and again, right? So this is where observation method is being used. So the key takeaway from this slide is that you have to understand and connect behavioral studies with observation methods, right? So examiner can ask you these kind of question like, what kind of primary data collection technique is used in behavioral sciences? Question mark. So you have to explain observation method there. Okay. And you have to remember observation method with behavioral sciences, as well as you have to understand that sometimes that the patient knows that we are observing him, sometimes the patient do not know that we are observing him, right? So it goes both ways. So here are some examples of structured information. See, observation, whenever you are observing a particular respondent or a particular subject or a particular patient, there can be two types of information that you can gather. The first is called as structured information and the second is called as unstructured information. Okay. So what is structured information? So you can write down in your copy so that you don't get confused. Okay. Observation method, and in observation method write down structured information and unstructured information. Okay, now what is this structured information? Let us understand. A principal watching a teacher gives a lesson to her class in order to judge her effectiveness as a educator, right? So this is an example of structured information. How this is a structured information? For example, there is a principal, right? And he wants to judge the efficiency of the teachers who are taking the lectures. So he may be having two, 3 points in the mind. Maybe the first point is communication skill. The second point is the kind of examples that has been used. The third uh, point can be participation of students, right? So this principal has 10 teachers in his schools, and he want to find out who is the best teacher and who is the worst teacher. So the teacher doesn't know, right? But there are cameras in the classes, so the principal is watching all the teachers, right? And he's giving them numbers or he's writing a description on the three parameters that I just told you. So this is an example of a structured information. Okay, is this point clear? Do we have any confusion till here? Okay. So the second example of structured information is a scientist looking at a chemical reaction in an experiment, right? So you are observing, you do not have any cameras, some chemical reaction has been going on in the laboratory, and you as a scientist is looking what is happening, and you are writing down. For example, you have mixed two or three chemicals and you are writing down at 9 a.m. this is the situation. Then after half an hour, this is the situation. After 2 hours, this is the situation. You are writing it down. So this is again an example of structured information. Next is a doctor watching a patient after administering an injection, right? For example, the doctor has given patient a particular injection, a particular medicine, and then the nurse is noting down the vitals reading every half an hour, right? For example, what is the heart rate and what is the blood pressure of the patient, what is the heart rate and blood pressure of the patient every half an hour. So you are observing that what is the effect of injection to that particular patient, right? So this is called as structured information. Okay, why this is structured information? Because you have a clear cut pattern of collecting the information from a particular observation, right? These are three different examples that gives you structured information from the observation method. Okay, what is observation method? Observation method is a technique of collecting primary data. Okay, now let's go further. Okay. So next is unstructured observation, right? Now observation is also of two types, structured information and unstructured information. Now what is unstructured information? This approach is best used to look at a single situation. For example, examining the experiences of elderly people admitted to care. In this situation, the researcher will take numerous field notes and may use tape or video recordings, right? For example, an elderly people is admitted to some kind of a care, or some kind of a care means it is a long-term study. That person has some kind of chronic disorder, and we know that he is going to eventually die, and he is just spending his 2 or 3 years of life in that particular hospital or a healthcare unit. So you as a respondent is living with that particular patient and you are noting down the observations. For example, certain days the days will be good, certain days the days will be bad. So you are noting down that information. You will sometimes take the field notes. Field notes means whenever the patient is going out or interacting with somebody, how is his behavior, and then you may take video recordings or maybe voice recordings of that particular patient. Why this is called as unstructured observation? Because there is no clear cut pattern of collecting the data from the information, from the observation, right? So that's why it is called as unstructured observation. Okay, when you have a particular method, when you have a particular structure of collecting a data, that becomes structured observation. When you do not have any structured, organized, well set method of collecting the data, that becomes unstructured observation method. Okay, so is this method clear to all of you? If you have any doubt, you can ask me.
मैम ये अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड वाला जो हॉस्पिटल वाला समझाएंगे थोड़ा एक बार और एक्सप्लेन.
Okay, so this in this unstructured method, basically, when you do not know that, what are the points on the basis of which we can collect data, right? When you do not have any particular structure, when you do not have any particular idea, because you have never done this before, this is something that you are going to understand or doing it for the first time, right? For example, a patient is admitted to a rehabilitation center, right? And he has taken the admission for 6 months of time, and you are noting down the recovery rate of a patient. So for 6 months, you cannot have a single form of questionnaire. Okay, so that's why we
Yes,
call
ma'am.
it, right. So we can that's where we use unstructured form of observation, right? Where we do not have a fixed set of patterns, or we do not have some fixed questions. Any kind of information can be important to you. You never know. For example, a patient is feeling good talking to an old friend of him, right? And he is showing some kind of a recovery symptoms, right? So this is that you noted down. You never know that this can also happen. Okay, so that is called as unstructured observation method. Okay, now next is called as interview method. What is interview method? A researcher has to conduct interview with a group of participants at a juncture in the research where information can only be obtained by meeting and personally connecting with a section of target audience. Interview is relatively more flexible tool than any written inquiry form and permits explanation, adjustment, and variation according to the situation. So, what are the various scenarios in which we collect data from the interview method? Whenever the information can only be connected when you meet a particular person personally, right? You have to meet him personally. For example, if I send you a single questionnaire, you will give me certain kind of a responses. And maybe the responses of two students or three students can match. But if I take interview of yours, you will speak differently, right? For example, individually, I will take interviews from you. So you will speak differently. You will more elaborately talking about a particular topic as compared to questionnaire, right? Because in questionnaire you will be only ticking right or wrong, you will be rating certain things. But if I ask you, right, if I ask you personally into the staff room and if I interview, then maybe you will put three or four extra points and you will explain those points also, right? So this is basically interview method uh, when you want to elaborate information, when you want a lot of information from a particular respondent, and neither the questionnaire nor the survey is going to fulfill your requirement because you want more and more information. For example, you are doing a research on some kind of political relations uh, between India and Sri Lanka, right? So you are doing a political what a research on political relations between India and Sri Lanka. So how you will do that? Me as a person, you as a person, we do not know what is going on, what kind of relations is there. We only knew whenever we read the news. Definitely, Sri Lanka is a friendly country, but still you have to go to political experts, or you have to meet the people who are working in foreign affairs ministry specifically related to Sri Lanka. You have to go to them and you have to talk to them. You have to take some people from India, some people from Sri Lanka. You have to interview them. You cannot make a questionnaire and you can find out that it is good or bad. You have to write down that okay, in imports and export the relation is good, as far as this particular area is concerned relation is bad, right? So whatever there is a problem between Tamilians and Sri Lanka on some land part, whatever problem is going on, the people from Tamil Nadu or the people from down the south or the people who are involved in politics or the people who are political advisors, they are going to give you an answer. So you have to go to them and you have to take your interview. That's why interview method is a flexible tool, right? Because there are no clear cut questions. You can ask them whatever you want to ask, and they can tell you whatever information they want to provide you. Okay, is this point clear? Interview method. Any question? Any doubt? Okay. So now let's move to the next one, which is types of interview. So we have seen types of observation methods. What are they? In the types of observation methods, we have seen that we have structured observation method, we have unstructured observation method. In the same way, you have three kinds of interview methods. What are they? You have structured method, you have unstructured method, and you have telephonic interview method, right? So now let us understand one by one what is structured interview and what are unstructured interviews, right? So what are structured interviews? Structured interviews are defined as a research tools that are extremely rigid in their operations. It is thus also known as standardized interview, and it is significantly quantitative in its approach. Questions in this interview are pre-decided according to the required detail of the information. See, structured as the name suggests, there are in structured interview the questions are pretty much fixed and you cannot play with the questions. Yes, the respondent can answer a lot, but as far as questions patterns is concerned, it is very organized, right? For example, you are interviewing candidates for a particular job position, right? So you have this particular set of questionnaire in the interview. For example, you have to ask about the candidate, then you have to ask about educational qualification. Then in the third, you have to ask certain psychological questions, right? So this is a pattern which is fixed in an interview. So that's why this is called as structured interview. When you have a pattern, when there is less flexibility, when the questions are already fixed, but the respondent can answer you in any way. Respondent has the flexibility because at the end of the day, you are interacting. Two people are talking. When two people are talking, interaction can go in any direction, right? But as far as questions is concerned, they are fixed. Okay, so this is called as structured interview. Now, the next method is unstructured interview. What is unstructured interview? It is also called as in-depth interview. Okay, unstructured interviews are usually described as conversation held with a purpose in mind to gather data about the research study. These interviews have least number of questions as they lean more towards a normal conversation but with an underlying subject. Okay, so here what you are doing is in an unstructured interview, you are talking to a particular individual. There are no set questions. You want to take as much information or as much data as possible from the respondent, right? So that is called as unstructured interview. Now a word is being used in depth. Can you explain what is the meaning of this in depth interview?
मैम इसमें ज़्यादातर क्वेश्चन मतलब कि सब्जेक्ट से वो अंदर पूछे हैं।
Okay. See, in depth means in detail. Okay. Whenever I am asking you a particular question, if I am asking you in detail of that particular question, okay, so I am going in depth. Okay, for example, I asked you a question that which is your favorite subject? So you are saying that principles of management is my favorite subject. Then I will ask you another question. Why this subject is your favorite? You will tell me that because in that we learn basics of management. What basics of management you have learned? Then you will tell me, sir, I have studied scientific management, administrative management. Then I will ask you, which is your favorite among the two, scientific management or administrative management? Then you will say scientific management. Then I will ask, why not administrative management? Hmm? So I am going in depth, I am going in detail. I want to ask you everything. So that is called as in-depth interview. These four questions, they are not written anywhere. But as a researcher, I want to know that how much you know about that particular topic or how much, what is your opinion, right, on a particular thing. Sometimes people are diplomatic. When we are taking political interviews, sometimes people are diplomatic, but if you ask them intelligent questions, or if you ask them application questions, you can make out that what is their opinion on a particular thing, right? So that's where unstructured interviews are being used. The main objective of the researcher using unstructured interview is to build a bond with the respondents, due to which there is a high chances that the respondent will be 100% truthful with their answers. So whenever you are doing an unstructured interview, it is important to build a very close bond with the interviewer. It is actually called as rapport building in marketing, right? Whenever you are selling a product, up you cannot directly sell a product to a customer. You have to make the customer as a friend, right? You have to make him as a friend. You have to tell him about, talk to him about his family, his surroundings, his likes, his dislikes. Then slowly and gradually you can pitch your product and you can sell your product, right? So building a bond with a customer or a respondent is important in unstructured interview, because we want to take out the facts which has uh, never been asked before, or maybe the subject is very diplomatic, so we want to find out uh, that what are the things which are going on in his mind. There are no guidelines for the researchers to follow, and they can approach the participants in any ethical manner to gain as much information as they possibly can for their research topic. So as I have told you that there are no specific guidelines, there is no specific uh, pattern to be followed in a particular research, right? The interview can go in any direction as far as the research is concerned. Okay, so I think that's enough for today, right? We will continue the questionnaire method in the next class. Let's,
मैम
yes, yes, Chandrasekhar.
मैम हम लोगों के एग्जाम का वो ओरिएंटेशन नहीं हो पाया मैम, तो हम लोग कैसे देंगे मैम? वो तो हो ही नहीं पा रहा है, एग्जाम के दिन प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा तो फिर।
Okay, we will talk about it after 5 minutes. Is it okay with you?
यस मैम, ओके।
So let's do a quick revision of what we have studied till now. We have studied types of data, right? What is data that we have understood? Who is going to explain data very quickly? What is data?
मैम डेटा इज ए अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन।
Okay. Data is unstructured form of information. And then what is information? Nitish, what is information? Sanjeev, what is
in
info? Yes, yes. Yes, Nitish.
information means
Okay, no problem. Anybody else who wants to explain what is the difference between data and information?
yes ma'am.
Yes, Rahul.
Data and information difference between data is a don't is static in a meaning and explain just like short way, and information is just like more than any information. Just example is COVID-19 and any state and provider data information.
Right, very good. So you have understood the concept. Very good. You can now mute yourself. So data is something which is very unorganized, and whenever we organize this data, this becomes information. Okay. Next is called as primary data. Now, what is primary data, Saurabh? What is primary data? Saurabh Kumar Jha, are you there? Saurabh, are you there? Sanjeet Kumar, are you there? What is primary data?
Yes, ma'am, my student.
Okay, Rahul. Yes, Rahul.
मैम प्राइमरी डेटा इज कलेक्टेड बाय हिमसेल्फ मैम, जो खुद से ही अपना डाटा को कलेक्ट करता है, किसी का भी कॉपी नहीं करता है.
Very good. So that is called as primary data. And now tell me what is secondary data?
सेकेंडरी डेटा इज जस्ट लाइक
Second.
किसी का कॉपी करता है मैम, जस्ट लाइक मैं ही कुछ बनाया और उसी का एक और भी बना दिया, और जस्ट लाइक रिपीट एंड रिपीट होते गया, एंड डाटा डिस्ट्रॉय भी हो सकता है.
Right. Very good. Very good,
थैंक यू
Rahul.
मैम.
So, see, the examples of secondary data is if you are collecting data from a source, for example, website, you are taking data from magazines or a government website, or you are taking data from a research paper or newspaper or any government data providing source, right? So, the source can be anything, but if it is something that is not collected by you, you are reusing it, it becomes secondary data. Okay, so that is called as secondary data. After that, we have studied four kinds of methods which are used in method of collection of primary data: observation method, interview method, questionnaire method, and survey method. Now, what is observation method? Except Rahul and Chandrasekhar, I want others to speak. Upendra, can you explain observation method?
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell us.
Observation method is people thinking and why which them action as expression or behavioral people's science.
Can you explain in Hindi?
मैम इसमें ये ऑब्जर्व करना, जैसे किसी पीपल के ऑब्जर्व करना, किसी एम्प्लॉय को, जैसे और उसका स्किल देखना, उसका सोचने का तरीका देखना, उसका बिहेवियर साइंस से, यानी बिहेवियर किस तरह से, इस टाइप का मैम.
Good, good. So that is observation method. I think you have understood it. Very good. After
थैंक यू.
that, we have studied structured information method and unstructured information, and we have studied interview method. So can anybody explain me the difference between structured interview and unstructured interview? Yes, Anil.
Ma'am, structure in interviews are different as research to data within this. जैसे अगर हम कोई भी अगर इंटरव्यू वगैरह करते हो, पहले से डिजाइन रहता है, स्ट्रक्चर रहता है, जैसे कैसे क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, कैसे ये करना है, इसी को बोलते हैं स्टैंडर्ड.
ठीक है, very good. So in structured interview, basically the pattern is fixed. Okay, the interview questions are fixed in structured interview, and in unstructured interview the pattern is not fixed. So I am stopping the